Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining so quickly. Our speaker has just arrived to the channel also. While we are waiting for everyone to join, maybe I should use the time to introduce myself very shortly and keep the valuable time for you, Shravani.
Thank you.
I'm Elif. I joined datalift just before the previous event. I was moderating there also. I work in BI domain for quite a while already, several years in different roles. And recently I joined Ecosia as a data advisor in freelance mode. So today it will be my pleasure to moderate this session with Shravani. I got a very short introduction last week. Was it last week or this week?
It was, I think, last week.
Time passes so quickly, I mix the days. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to hear the detailed version of the presentation. I hope you will share also my excitement. Maybe I can do also a very quick introduction to you, and you can also tell more about yourself before your presentation. So Shravani is a plant biologist, and she's been focusing on the agriculture section, and she's been building innovative and data-driven solutions at SBSF, where she's SBSF Agritech, the exact name, where she's a co-founder and a managing director. There and before, she has been building innovative data-driven products for companies in Asia and Europe. And she will be telling us about the CropLocator today. And we will be very happy if you put your questions in the chat and make this session more interactive, and in this way it can stay in your memories longer. So I will hand it to you, Shravani.
Thank you, Elif. I'll start sharing my screen while I speak, then in that case.
And I'm going to share both of our LinkedIn profiles. So if you want, you can get connected with us for questions or just having a wider network.
Just a minute, I'm having some problems sharing the screen. Okay. Seb.
Okay, she's obviously getting IT support. It happens.
Sorry, I upgraded my computer and I think there is a problem.
All right, we are waiting.
Yes.
You need to reboot.
I need to reboot.
She'll come back in a second. I'm the IT guy.
Yeah, I already gave the right, so she should be able to do this. How can I entertain you? Maybe we can talk about the volunteering part. I was meaning to start this discussion meanwhile, while she was presenting. She's going to talk about this AI-based solution CropLocator. And when we were discussing this shortly, she mentioned that actually one of the biggest challenges is lies in the data collection part. And I was wondering, actually, like, if you think about this in the future, if there is a tool for you to help with the data collection, would you volunteer for this? Maybe you can put your comments in the chat, and you can imagine it that this tool would be used to collect data on soil quality, or maybe collaborating with the local farmers. So the idea is that you would help to understand if the crops are healthy, if there is a danger for the neighboring crops. So would you really consider volunteering something similar for this, like crowdsourcing platform, which gives you the necessary tools and you just go to a field somewhere and you help collecting data?
Sorry, may I ask where are the fields located, in which area?
Imagine that if you are in your close by areas. So she will give you examples with the relevant projects, but just this is an imagination. Like, if the solution is there, would you just do something on your side? She's expecting something from me. That's why I'm a bit distracted.
Hi.
Ah, okay.
I think we are back again. Sorry, I had to. Yes, I had to kind of. Can you see?
All good. Yes, we can see the presentation.
Perfect. Sorry about this. Really, I mean.
It happens. There's always something going wrong in such moments.
It is actually the thing is, because we are dealing with agricultural data, and the data is all over the place. It's in logs we collect from farmers, and these are handwritten logs. So I was looking for very many different softwares that could help me, optical character recognition based softwares that could help me digitalize this. And so I tried several of them. I kind of downloaded on my computer, changed the operating system, and now everything is a mess. But I haven't found anything that really works well, but I will get there. Anyway, so today, thank you very much. As you can see, I'm not an IT person, but my background is in agriculture, and this is where I have done my all my studies, right from undergraduate to PhD in agricultural sciences. And I specialized in genetics, plant breeding, and molecular genetics. So based on this, I wanted always to do something in the field of agriculture, but over the course of the years, I have been working as a consultant from pharmaceuticals to agriculture, and now I decided that it's time to completely make a turn around and come back and focus in this field, because this is the domain that has suddenly caught everyone's interest again, even though this is one of the most primordial industries in human history. But for some reason, it also agriculture stands to be one of the most neglected areas. But climate change and exploding human population has all brought us back together to kind of think more seriously about how we can carry on ensuring food security. And also by food security, I mean, it also means supply chains, commodities, all kinds of things that are linked to agriculture. And this is where everyone nowadays is looking at how we can leverage data, which is already there, but in many different formats, many different forms, and how we can use this data to kind of ensure food and agri-commodity supply chain security. So SBSF is a very new company, and we are very small. So probably no one has heard about us. When we started set up SBSF Consultancy Services, which is a company based in India in 2018, the idea was to create a network of people who are domain knowledge experts in agriculture, and also to bring with them people who are machine learning engineers, data scientists, and from this new and emerging field, and how we can combine two different types of people together, and how we can leverage it for the good of agriculture. So SBSF stands for Science, Business, and Sustainable Futures. And SBSF Agritech UG, which is a company we registered in Berlin, Germany in 2020, in December 2020, not long ago, is focused on tech development. We are focused on product development, whereas SBSF Consultancy, which is based in India, is focused on consulting governments and private sector companies, universities, and international organizations. So this is how the dynamics works at the moment. The founding team of SBSF Agritech comprises of the three of us, as I already told about me. Angel is Spanish. He lives between Berlin and Canary Islands. He is a mathematician by training, and also he is a highly skilled data scientist. Manan is based in India. He is an electronics and communications engineer, but also a data scientist, and he is extremely good. So I'm really lucky I met these people during the course of our journey, and they decided to come on board with us. On the advisory board, I have Dr. Sebastian Foucault. He is the current CTO of HRS Group, and we have been working together on SBSF Consultancy and SBSF Agritech since it has been founded. Dr. Shravani Basu happens to be he's based in India. He's the managing director of SBSF Consultancy Services, and he has spent his whole career in agriculture, basically over 50 years, and knows all the agricultural systems across the world, and is an encyclopedia of agriculture, I might say. So as we all know, there are old and new challenges facing agriculture. I don't need to go deep into this, because we know, we all know the current situation and how, the climate change is impacting, and also the exploding population is putting millions at the risk of starvation. And this is more acute if you look in countries like Africa, and also even Southern America, and parts of Asia, where food insecurity and starvation are going hand in hand, and it's creating an existential crisis, not only for the farmers who are growing these crops, but also for consumers as a whole. We see shelves, products disappearing from shelves in supermarkets, even if you're based in Europe or in the US. And this is just, this is just the beginning, I would say. I hope it doesn't get worse, but this is where it's all heading. So the old challenges which has been plaguing agriculture has always been that agriculture mostly has been subsistence type of agriculture, and the agriculture which is mechanized, which is commercialized, like you see in the Western countries, in US, in Europe, where it's done on large fields, highly mechanized, but it has focused on only 20 different crop species. So it has focused only on a few crops, whereas most of the crops beyond, let's say, beyond wheat, beyond barley, beyond sunflower, all these, or sugarcane, these are grown on small farms by small farmers who have very little land, less than 1 hectare of land. So agriculture has always been a subsistence farming, and lack of post-harvest storage and processing facilities makes it very difficult also. Then there is there are issues related to fragmented land holdings and high input use, which has led to soil deterioration, because of course from small holdings we want to maximize as much as we can get the yield, and that's why we have been using almost precariously, we have been using chemical inputs like fertilizers, pesticides, insecticides to kind of get as much as we can. And then there's also predatory financing. Most of these farmers, they are so poor or so backward, they don't have proper banking facilities. They depend on loan sharks who give them financing at very high costs. So these have always been the challenge that has plagued agriculture. Then there is the new challenges, which we all know, the shifting climate pattern, where you see there are floods or there is a huge scarce droughts. Then there's the new and known pests and disease outbreaks. So we have seen swarms of locusts which migrated from Africa towards India and the rest of Asia, completely destroying everything that is on their way. Or you can say the fall armyworm. This is a pest which was confined to Latin America, and now from Latin America, it migrated to Africa, from Africa to Asia, from India, China, even down to Australia. Everything that comes, it destroys, these are small larvae, which kind of feeds on 80 different crop species. And when I say 80 different crop species, you can imagine it feeds on almost everything that is out there. And what it does is the larvae feeds in a way that the entire crop is gone in 2 days before even the farmers noticing the incidence of the attack. This is as severe as this. And last year, $13 billion of maize, which is one of the staple food crops in Africa, was destroyed, completely wiped out because of fall armyworm. And these are the challenges we are facing more and more, and at a global scale. No one is isolated anymore. And then we see trade and geopolitical instability. If you look at the Southern American countries, if you look at Venezuela, if you look at Colombia, if you look at all these countries, either it's geopolitical instability or economic crisis. Argentina, and countries in Africa and even countries in Asia, these are the food producing countries. They are resource rich. They are the center of origin of many different germplasms. And these countries are under increasing pressure. And that's why also this disrupts the whole commodity supply chains and agriculture as a whole. And then there is intensive mechanization and chemistry solutions, which have been leveraged for years now, which has led to resistant buildups, because we have been using the chemical solutions so indiscriminately that over time, the pests and diseases, they became more and more resistant. The soil became so depleted and degraded that some of these changes have become almost irreversible. And this is where we have to kind of think of new ways. And this is where precision agriculture driven by data and analytics, machine learning is going to be the key. And digital agriculture and precision farming, I need not emphasize it anymore, is really the future of agriculture. And without this, I think we will just be digging our graves deeper. And this is where all of you can come together and we can all contribute to this field. So how data can support agriculture? We have been developing quite a few products. One of the products that we are developing, and I'm not going to talk about it here today, is the pest detection model. We have been working on fall armyworms, and there's a paper also out there on Medium that we wrote and published together. But today I'm going to talk about the CropLocator model, which SBSF Agritech has been developing on our own. We don't have any investors yet. We are just using our own time and money to develop this model, but we want to take it to a stage where, we have something to showcase, and then we want to onboard strategic investors, because this is not something we can, pull it off our hats in a year or two, or we can even validate things like this without running some field trials and field experiments. All these takes time, and we want investors who understand the science behind how data and machine learning can really make an impact in agriculture. So basically, what CropLocator does, it's a land scouting tool, and we are to identify the ideal crop growing regions across the world. So the model principles, it's based on crop statistics, which is yield data, climate data, land utilization type and cultural practices, which is agro-ecological data. And what this product allows us to scout for ideal crop growing regions to ensure diversification. And we know that diversification will ultimately help us to kind of, get food security and sustainability. And for this, we have combined, this model combines climate data, which includes live temperature and precipitation. Then we have the land data, which is the soil and geography. And we provide the pest sites and crop information, not only the location where different crops can be grown, but also what the yield, expected yield could be. And this will help us in maximizing the areas in the world where one particular crop can be grown, not only where it's currently grown today, but it could be grown in the future. And this is the idea behind this, using all these different data sets. So these are the different agroecological zones that have been mapped by the CropLocator model, and the product that we have developed. This only includes 160 agroecological zones at the moment. And agroecological zones, the broad definition of this is it's a land resource mapping unit which factors in soil, climate, land cover, like what crops are grown there, and whether it's urban, semi-urban, or rural land. So these are the kind of definitions that go into make the different agroecological zones. Now, there are thousands of agroecological zones, and sometimes the definition of these are very arbitrary, but we have focused on 160 agroecological zones at the moment. And based on that, the output, you can see where are the similar agroecological zones based on the color scheme that you see on the map here. So if I were to describe the CropLocator model in a nutshell, this is how it works. Basically, it's a semi-supervised machine learning based product. We use the climate reanalysis data, which is from Copernicus, and it's based on Sentinel satellite data. It's a very complete data set because it includes forecasts predicting forecasts, and also it predicts the future climates, which would be very useful for us. We haven't reached to that point yet where we are using the future predictions, but we are getting there. Then we use the harmonized world soil database, which is also, there are many classification of many databases that classifies the different soils of the world, but the harmonized world soil database is the most complete and most accurate one that we have so far. But of course, these are all databases are work in progress, and they are constantly being they're kind of being saturated with more and more information. Then we have the landscape data, which is from NOAA, N-O-A-A, and the landscape data, it's mostly the precise elevation and the amount of exposure to the sun that we look at in this data set. Then we have the global biodiversity information. This GBIF is a complete worldwide catalog of crops with geolocations. It has, in this catalog, there are about 12,000 species collected from 3 million different locations. So these are the 4 primary data sets we are using. And also then we do use, for crop specific models, we use local crop data where it's available. And for the crop we are looking at. Using these data sets, we do some feature engineering. So basically data is combined into a map. We map with 9 by 9 square kilometer grids. We extract about 80 features for each location. And then using SVD, we bring down the, we do a dimension reduction, and we focus on 24 features per location. Just 1 minute if I can. Okay. So then we have the model. The model is it's based on identifying the AEZs, which is the different agroecological zones, using a clustering technique. Here we use K-means and birch. Then what we are trying to do is we are trying to bootstrap to ensure the stability of the predictions that we get. And the lowest optimized number of clusters is currently around 160. We are planning to increase that number of clusters over time. And the combined AEZ map or crop catalog mining, it's based on KD tree search. Now, the output, what we get from this model is we identify similar agroecological zones for mapping. Then we identify potential crops for given sites based on similar agroecological zones. And then, or the other way around, the vice versa, is we identify potential sites for a given crop. So let's say we want to grow groundnut or peanuts. using this map, we can identify what are the agroecological zones where peanut is currently being grown, and vice versa. We can also identify the different sites, potential sites where peanut could be grown based on the similarity between different AEZs. And future, we can, not only this, we don't want to stop there. What we want to do is we want to be able to see that in future, with increasing temperature and rainfall patterns, where erratic rainfall patterns, where are the future sites for growing these crops? And I will give you an example in the follow-on slides how we are planning to use this. So of course, all this looks very nice in theory, and we have a model, we have a product that is quite stable and it's working well, but the proof is in the pudding. And this is where we need to identify, we need to do some field trials and we need to validate this model. So fortunately, we have been able to we were approached by the government of Sikkim. Sikkim is a state in northeast of India, and they had a 12 hectare plot of land which is lying barren, and as you can see, the land it's a terraced land. It lies at an altitude of nearly 3,000 meters. So Sikkim is in the Himalayan state, and there we want they used to grow a seed potato in this land, and now it's lying barren, so they want to find new crops to grow in this area. And Sikkim being organic state, it's a fully organic state, no chemicals or inputs are used in the state for growing any kind of crops. And this is where we started looking at different AEZs for this particular land, and what are the crops grown in different AEZs that could be potentially grown in Sikkim and introduced in this area. And
Shravani, we are entering the last minutes. Maybe you can
all right. So this is the output of our model. As you can see, the different AEZs for Sikkim. So here, Peru, Ecuador, and Colombia. These are the areas, and you can see also the AEZs that the similar areas in India, in the northeast of India. And based on this, we selected cacao. Of course, cacao is a crop that is used worldwide, but there are millions of growers of cacao, but only few companies control the cacao trade. And there are only 5 processors and 10 companies that dominate cacao production, cacao distribution and processing. And this is where we want to enter this game, because we think we can make a difference. And based on the existing production sites of cacao, these are which is from the GBIF database, where germplasms of cacao have been collected. As you can see in green, this is where cacao germplasms have been found to be grown. And this is the output of the CropLocator, where these are the potential areas where cacao can be grown. The deeper the green color is, it's more suitable to the center of origin of cacao, where these plants originated. And the lighter the color is, it can be grown there with with agronomic management practices. And these are the areas across the world where cacao can be potentially grown. And Sikkim happens to be one of those areas. So, and it's not a surprise, because cacao was introduced in India in the late 18th century. And from there, cacao has, not only in the southern parts of India, but cacao has also been grown is now being grown in the northeastern parts of India, which is near the Himalayas, Assam, Nagaland. They are started growing there and developing varieties. So somehow it gives an indirect validation for our model that the product we have developed, that it's not a completely random output. And soon we will be growing cacao, starting the plantation of cacao in this field in Sikkim that I have just shown you. And once we have the crop in there, this is the proof that the model really works. Thank you very much. And I think
we thank you a lot for this very rich presentation. I think most of us have passion in in food in general, and we should share your passion in agriculture, at least partially. I was mentioning about the future when maybe you will arrange some possibilities to get volunteers helping you in data collection or maybe in data cleaning. So I can encourage people to get in touch with you in case.
Sure. I mean, as I said, we are very small, but we want to have, you know, a product that is out there, and then we want to kind of attract investors who would be willing. And at that stage, we will be expanding, and we will need people to help us in this journey.
And yeah, we are done with the presentation. The time is out.
Thank you.
I thank everyone for joining, and in March there will be the next datalift. You will get notified via Eventbrite. Have a good day. I hope you will all enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for the nice presentation, Shravani.
Yeah, in the chat you can see lots of thanks.
You, Shravani.
Sorry, I have a lot of background noise. I'm really sorry.
All real life stuff, so all good. You had a happy audience, I think.
Thank you. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, I'm not closing the session, so I'm here.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Hi, Shravani. Thank you very much. It's nice to see your presentation. I was thinking if your solution is going to help soil erosion or irritation, I don't know which one is the right word to use. You know, we are facing this big problem right now in the world. So our soil is not going to be productive anymore. You know, over and over, like.
Yes.
So yeah, just that's a question.
Yes, it will, because if you look, I mean, I kind of rushed the last part, but the idea here is also crop diversification, in the sense, if we grow crops that are meant to be grown in a particular region based on their center of origin. So different crops have different center of origin from where, like potato. If you look, potato originated in Central America. Cacao, the origin of cacao is Peru, but now it's grown, you know, in Ivory Coast, Ghana. These are the biggest producers of cacao. So similarly, if we grow crops that are closer to the center of origin, or have climatic conditions, soil conditions that are more suitable to that particular crop, then you have to use less inputs. And the less inputs you use, the more you can conserve the environment. So this also helps with soil conservation, because the main reason for degradation of soil is excessive use of inputs, chemical inputs, excessive massive deforestation. And in the case of cacao, what we see is, because cacao producers are so small, they have only 1 acre of land or 2 acres of land, and what they do, they keep on deforesting lands to grow new cacao trees, because after 20-30 years, the cacao trees become less productive and they have to move on to newer sites. And this is really, I mean, when you start deforesting, it causes soil erosion, it causes landslides and all those things. Whereas if cacao sector can be organized, if cacao can be grown, let's say in lands that are already available, more closer to the agroclimates, where they can grow with less inputs, less intervention, this is how we can save the environment, save the soil and everything. And this is the idea, that diversification part.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I mean, just to add, I mean, cacao was introduced in India in the southern parts of India, southern states of India, like Kerala, which is called the spice basket, spice growing region of the world. From black pepper, you know, coffee, cacao, all this was introduced there. And then the southern part of India, but with temperature rise, now they are, I mean, we have already seen the temperature in since the last century, it has risen by 1.2 degrees or something across the world. And sooner or later, they are saying that even these areas down south will become unsuitable for production of most of these crops and spices. And you will have to move upwards altitudinally towards more cooler climates, you know? So in future, we could be seeing colder climates becoming more hospitable to a lot of these tropical crops. And if you look at, even if you go to Lidl, and if you see, you can see lychee, mangoes, and all these tropical fruits being sold at Lidl. And these fruits are now being grown in Spain. So suddenly, the Spanish areas, which is close to the African continent, are become hot spots of growing tropical fruits. So I guess, yeah, we just have to exploit and find new ways of growing crops.
Yeah, someone just put a comment here. Greece is growing avocados, says Myra.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's totally true. Maybe you will have another episode where you are going to talk about the pest detection product. That will be also very, very interesting. I think we all need more consciousness, more awareness around these topics as consumers. And as I said, like, we can be also volunteering to help you in your mission.
Oh, well, that would be great. I can send your way a lot of logs. I mean, agriculture is such an old subject. I mean, you know, people usually pass on the information they have, farmers pass on the information they have to their children who are practicing agriculture by word of mouth. So nothing is documented. And whatever is documented at universities, research organizations, they used to be in paper logs. No one knows where the papers are. Then came the computers. But then the generation of computers are changing so fast, the old computers are gone, no one bothered to store the data. Or you have PDF files that are scanned copies of the logs, but they are not real, you know, you can't transform them into Excel. And this is where the challenge comes from. So it's a lot of, we need a lot of technology. It's not just data science, but data technology also has to be put into use.
For the collection, yeah. And
exactly.
app.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. So if there's no other question, maybe now we can wrap the session up.
Thank you all for being so patient. I really apologize. I sincerely apologize for all the technical glitches and everything.
All good. We were happy that you could come back with your presentation. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.